Hello everybody and welcome to Absolute Sim Racing for the 8th round of the BSR Tegiwa Trophy. We are here at the Charlotte Roval for what is set to be an amazing round of racing. I'm Edward Mayer, joining me in the commentary box as always, and now in sound and not quite vision, Daniel Handover joins me. Dan, great to have you here, and this is set to be a brilliant race. Charlotte Roval always provides excellent racing.
Indeed, you're right as well. Also, firstly, hello everyone. Thank you very much, as always, for tuning in. It's fantastic to have you with us here. And yeah, Charlotte Roval. It's a track that isn't necessarily, I don't think it's praised as much as it should be, but it does provide some cracking racing, especially in cars such as this. When you look in the MX5s, it's the perfect track for them. In a way, it's got a bit of everything. It's got slow speed chicanes, it's got high speed banking, a bit of slipstream able to be there as well. So there's so much going on. I'm excited. It's great to be back in the commentary box as well. Obviously, last week just doing just on the cameras, but this time able to commentate on it as well. It's going to be fantastic racing, I'm sure.
Yeah, I remember actually last time I raced this circuit was in the BSR Mazdas back when I was a driver in this series. I had a great ding-dong battle with Tyler Maxson, who I think has gone on to do TCR racing down in the US of A. So he's been not around in the BSR paddock for a little while, but you know, we can see drivers come and they go. We've got some great drivers here this evening. Speaking of the drivers, let's have a look, shall we, at the standings. And now we don't have, obviously, that on the left-hand side of the screen in terms of the point standings, but we do have the standings in qualifying. And, well, Kelsey Vries, Jason Cooper's out on top, out in front. Andy McEwen, though, doing very good up into second place. And it's in the early days of qualifying. It can obviously get quicker. So can the competition. So it's not over yet.
Very true, actually. Very, very true. Like I said, it's early days. We've still got 10 minutes of qualifying left to go. We know how fast Jason Cooper is in the Swift Cooper Esports. Apologies for the liveries. They will be updated. They will be updated shortly. Yeah, Andy McEwen really taking it to him. Half a second, though, is the gap. A bit closer as well to Arthur Panzel in the whiz with a controller. Just a tenth behind Andy McEwen. And then going through again, the gaps are as close as you would ever imagine. They're as close as you naturally would see. I'm sure it will get closer. Naturally, it's always going to get closer because of the nature of people getting used to the circuit as well. Especially as we're going through, we just saw Jason Cooper go through there. How you ride that curb on the inside is a very, very crucial one, because you can cut the curb, but if you cut it too much, then it can go the other way. So you've always got to be careful. So I think, surprisingly, hooking up a lap here is trickier than a lot of circuits that we've been to in this season so far.
Yeah, I think the last time as well the BSR came here was with the old chicane, one where in these MX5s you could near enough take it flat out if you got the line to perfection. But here it's a lot more of a ordeal, this chicane. So we'll expect drivers to try and navigate the chicane with a little bit more delicacy, I think.
That's a good way to put it. It's a good way to put it. There we go. Liveries there. Look at that, as if by magic. Yes, apologies, but we're all there now. Lee Holmes has actually just gone into third place that I've just seen. Interesting stuff there. So good job from Lee Holmes. Where is he? There he is there for the 88 Tech MX5. He's only 700s behind Andy McEwen, though. Jason Cooper did improve on his last time because Andy McEwen has dropped down another 10th. I'm just looking who was behind. That was, I believe, Jason Cooper just behind. A little bit further down the field there, Michael Linscombe Hatsfield. He has just gone up into P12 overall, first in class. So again, a stellar performance as ever in the early stages of qualifying for the Mastew Logistics white driver, the number 718. And again, as they go through, utilising all of the track, again, drivers will start to get it, but they've got to watch out for that as well, though, because look at what happened there. That slightly too early turn in, and it can then upset the balance of the car. It pushes it just a little bit too wide, so you've got to be careful there. And as I go through down into the infield section, I suppose this could be classed as well. Quite tight, but it's tight, but at the same time, it's a medium speed corner. You know, there's a lot of medium speed corners, but it's still tight at the same time. Get as close to the curb as you can on the inside, because otherwise that happens and you run a little bit wide. Michael obviously knows that we're watching him on stream. But like I said, these times are going to come down. The gap in class, looking at a few tenths of a second, but I'm sure it's going to come down. James Neve has just gone up into P8. There he is there for the other sister Matthew Logistics white car with the purple roll cage.
Oh,
Sam Smith,
Sam
though,
Smith.
look at that. Good effort there from Sam Smith from Gas and Sim Sport up into P3. 4 thousandths of a second behind Andy McEwen, who is now in the pits.
Yeah, you can see that front row spot lining up for him there. 4 thousandths the difference. Like you mentioned, it's so close. Very fine margins. As always in the championship, you can see Arthur Panzel is 7 thousandths away from Lee Holmes for the second row of the grid. So it is very close stuff here. You'll expect to see drivers coming out now as Andy McEwen was in the pit lane, probably taking tyres at the midway point, as is the fashion, as is Arthur Panzel. I think Tom Griffiths and Nick Postance are doing similar things, coming in midway through the session for fresh pair of boots and then going on and just pounding out the laps for the final part of this qualifying session. You can see that goes on their outlets. I think Sam Smith is going to just try and get it through this chicane. Now look at it, pitching the car and using the sausage curves on the inside to actually get the car on two wheels and induce a little bit of rotation into the car. It seems to work out for him, carries the momentum through as well, and then just hugs a tight line just over the apron, isn't he? Just on the right-hand side of the apron, keeping it nice and tight through, but opting to come into the pit. So I think we're going to see Sam Smith take a fresh pair of boots, and for the final 5 minutes, it will be a sprint to the line till the end of qualifying, just pounding out those fast laps. You can see that there's a fair few drivers out on track, but there's also a fair few drivers not. They will be serving penalties for qualifying, and then obviously we'll be seeing several cars out on the circuit for the race. So don't be scared that there's only 20 cars with lap times on the board there. There's still plenty more drivers here, we can assure you.
Very true indeed, yes, as you say. Just taking over 5 minutes as we see James King really throwing it over the curb, which is fantastic to see. Does he improve on this lap time? No, he does not. So last lap time was at 1:33.6. But he has got another lap time to go. Look at that. Sam Smith is now on pit exit, so he will be, as you say, getting those extra couple of laps in. I think it was Andy McEwen just ahead there, getting very, very squirrely on the exit of turn 4, I believe that was. And again,
but he carried a lot of speed, didn't he?
He did indeed. Maybe a little bit too much. Adam Fox, I'm guessing, on an out lap at the moment. He's just on a slow down lap, trying to get the tyres maybe a little bit cooler, and then going to get ready to set another flying lap. Could very well be trying to gap as well, just try and get a bit of space. That's one thing you've always got to be cautious of. You've got to make sure that you provide, that you make sure you give yourself space and you give yourself the opportunity to be able to go through. Shane Piggott, look at that, up into P7 that we've just seen. So he comes across the line, and that is an improvement for him. So currently third overall in the pro class. I'm just having a look. So Arthur Panzel is in second place in the pro-ams in class, but he's fifth overall. So you've got Andy McEwen, Sam Smith, and Lee Holmes all separating Jason Cooper and Arthur Panzel. So 3 pro-am drivers really getting stuck in with the within the top 5.
And that is cracking stuff, isn't it? But there's little ways off Jason Cooper, who has had a stranglehold on pole positions all season long. It looks to be another one going his way. Look at this, though, following Liam Stimpson. He's really wringing the neck of this MX5. You know, could see him dipping a couple wheels out onto the grass, but really maximising the track space. I don't think he's gotten a 1x or a slowdown penalty for that, so he's going to carry on, and then he's going to go onto the banking now. Really carries the speed through. Look how close he was to the wall there, carrying the momentum. This is crucial for the lap time, keeping a high line, and he's trying to open out the steering, not scrubbing the speed, and then comes down. Also uses gravity to accelerate the car through the corner. So this could be a good lap time here for Liam Stimpson.
Could very well be indeed. At the moment, there's no green tyres being set, a little bit wide though, going into the last or the second to last chicane, so that will hurt his time a bit. So yeah, no improvement.
I think he's backed out of it.
Yeah, but so you can see that. Yeah, you are absolutely right. You can see Colin Sampson did get a personal best for sector. Unfortunately, couldn't quite match that in the following 2, but he has got one more sector to go. Andy McEwen though, he is coming through again into the last section, coming into the last sector, as you can see there, the 4 out of 4. And again, no current improvements that has been there. Not too long left though, only a couple of minutes. you've got to cross the line. You will be able to finish your lap as well. Jason Cooper is still out on circuit, but he's not setting he's not setting any new personal best at this moment in time. But again, anything can happen. It's still very good. Arthur Panzel, though, look at that. He's just only noticed. Arthur Panzel is now up into P2. So Arthur Panzel's lap time, that has now split. Still 0.6 of a ways away from Jason Cooper. But ultimately, he has pipped Andy McEwen at this moment in time by 0.05 of a second. Oh, that was a lot of curb. Might be a little bit too much. I can imagine as well, Ed, we're not going to see very many wing mirrors at the end of these races, are we? Because Arthur Panzels has taken a bit of a battering. I'd be surprised if anyone had them left at the end of this race, because you need to get close to the wall, don't you? You have to be committed into that section as well. Look how much wider Arthur Panzel was going. We've seen a couple of times. You don't get an off track through there. But again, if you push that a little bit too much, and precision, I think, is the key thing. If you've got no wing damage, but you've got a wing mirror damage, that is precision.
Yeah, that's the thing, and especially as well, if these cars were ragging it around in real life, I don't know if they'd be strong enough to stand up to the assault of this, especially over the curbs. You'd imagine Wimmer might get knocked off or knocked loose coming into this chicane, because they do clark the sausage curves. They come back down with a little bit of a bump, so maybe we would expect to see some drivers losing wing mirrors there, but I don't think iRacing models that Andy McEwen is one of the drivers to be losing their right-hand side wing mirrors. But we're following on board with him now. You can see that time isn't looking too bad here. What can he muster? He'll obviously be able to get another lap time done as he crosses the line before the checkered flag is out. Look at that, 2 wheels over the chicanes. And is there an improvement from Andy McEwen?
It's close.
No, there isn't. It's close, but not quite enough. So we'll go again, and this is it. This is his final time to look for any sort of improvement here, to try and get up onto the front row.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just going through sectors now with Andy McEwen. That sector, it wasn't his quickest sector. However, he was 0.06 of a second quicker than Arthur Panzel's time in Sector 1. I really want to say this. This is qualifying done and dusted. A few more drivers still left to go before that is the end. Andy McEwen, though, is one of those people. He's lost 0.03 of a second, though, going through. Oh, that was a big moment. Manages to hold it, but that will cost him at least... Actually, do you know what? It might not cost him all that much. It's probably cost him at least maybe about 1/10, maybe a little bit more. But as long as he kept the momentum up, he can carry that all the way down here. So, again, it's just one of those ones where this Sector 3 is going to be crucial. It's going to come... Oh, no, he's backed out. That's it. So Andy McEwen knows that... Andy McEwen knows that lap was not going to be. Although at the same time, just looking at it as well, I mean, half a 10, it's not all that much in it, to be fair. That's going to be still a fantastic battle, nevertheless. Tom Griffiths is just coming through. That was the person that Andy McEwen let by. He just let by Tom Griffiths, who's only 400. So what? He's only a 100th of a second away from Nick Clibbins in P8. So does he improve over the course? He did do a purple Sector 2, but just at the wall. Unfortunately, that will be a no-go for him as well for that particular lap.
And I think he did overcook it into the chicane on that final lap as well. Andy McEwen let him by, but you could see on the onboard we saw from Andy that he just took a little bit too much into the corner, understeered on entry, and then that really had a big knock-on effect for the rest of the run out and into that final chicane. So no improvement there for Tom Griffiths. However, qualifying at this circuit isn't necessarily everything. You are flat out for a lot of the lap, as most oval road courses are. Slipstreaming is going to be so key here. So while Arthur Panzel, Andy McEwen, Sam Smith are a little bit off the pace compared to Jason Cooper, they're still in with a shout, a very respectable shout as well, of a race victory here this evening. Don't count them out just yet.
No, very true. Don't count anyone out just yet, to be fair. I mean, anyone in the top 15. We've seen Michael Linscomb-Hatfield. He's had some really, really fantastic races as well. So, all the way down through there, anything can happen. We know with these races, that is the end of qualifying. So we're going to be able to bring you the grid in but a few moments' time. And yeah, I mean, like I said, realistically, let's not count anyone out because it could all very well change. But here is the grid for race 1. So Jason Cooper taking pole position on Arthur Panzel in P2. The Wiz with a controller by 0.6 of a second. So Jason Cooper first, Arthur Panzel in P2. Andy McEwen P3 for Year 1 Racing with Sam Smith in 4th. Lee Holmes in P5 with James Neve in P6. Shane Piggott 7th, Nick Clibbins in 8th with Tom Griffiths in P9. And Nick Fossens rounding out your top 10. Then we've got James King in P11, followed by Craig Cockrell in P12, with James Clark in 13th, Glenn Humberstone 14th, Michael Linscombe Hatsfield in 15th, and Douglas Stewart in P16. Liam Stimpson 17th, Colin Sansom 18th, with Adam Fox P19 and Julian Schroer in P20. Luke Cooper P21, Ryan May in 22nd, with Simon Robson P23 and Craig McDonald in P24. And then as we go, last few drivers, Tom Sperling P25, Robert Noble in P26, Fiona Siddons 27th, and Mark Oliver in P28. Oh, I mean, your money, to be fair, I would imagine, money, I know my money's on, but that's not necessarily the, it can all change.
Yeah, definitely. Jason Cooper, he has pole position, but like we mentioned, slipstream is so strong here at the Charlotte Roval that can definitely change the order. And all it takes is for one little moment here or there, Jason Cooper to make a mistake, and that opens the door wide for Arthur Panzel and Andy McEwen to slide on by. So Jason Cooper needs to be on his absolutely, because if you ever make a move as you have in just pure pace, will get eaten up massively in the slipstream. Just waiting, I think, for the lights to come on. Here we go. I think we're done.
A very, very quick apologies. We've just lost Edward there. Hopefully going to come back in a few moments, but we are underway. Jason Cooper got a very good start. So did Arthur Panzel. He got a fantastic start as well. They all file into the first turn, all relatively nicely. I think, to be fair, again, everything's looking quite clean. We've got a little bit further down the field, Shane Piggott is having a bit of a go on Nick Clibbins. They're going to go too wide going into the mid-infield section. Managed to all continue their merry way. Michael Linscombe Hatfield, though, he's having a bit of a ding-dong, and there's a crash between himself and who was that? I believe that was Colin Sampson. So they've both gone around. That's going to cost big time as well. Haven't got too long. Never mind, only a 15-minute race. They've really got to make sure that they catch back up as quickly as they can so they don't lose too much time. Meanwhile, again, a little bit further back up the field now, we have got, this is where it gets interesting, because now you've got all of the slipstream running now on board with Shane Piggott. You can just see up ahead there, that is Arthur Panzel and Andy McEwen. So Andy McEwen's going to have a right go. Here we are on board now with Andy McEwen going through into the first of the chicanes. Doesn't quite make a move there though, but I think playing the long game is quite wise. Arthur Panzel goes quite wide. Manages to carry and keep that momentum up though, so good stuff indeed there. From Arthur Panzel. Two completely different lines, but they both managed to work quite well. And then as we go through, coming into the end of the first lap, no, Jason Cooper matching what he was doing in qualifying with that first lap. He's already got 6/10 in hand over Arthur Panzel. Andy McEwen again did catch up a little bit. Look how much they take the curves. That is absolutely insane. What's happening here though? Lee Holmes is going to have a bit of a look up the inside. I think he's already done it, you know. That was it. Lee Holmes making the move on James Neve, but James Neve comes right back round the outside as they go through into turn 2 and turn 3. Oh, that's close to the wall. That was a tap. Didn't lose a wing mirror though, so it could have been a little bit closer. But James Neve retakes the position straight away from Lee Holmes. Fantastic racing in this little midfield, and I believe we do have Ed back here. Ed, are you with us?
Hello, yes, I'm back. The racing was too exciting for my internet to hold, but I think it's gotten there now, and what a time to come back, because we've just seen James King sliding down the inside of Tom Griffiths, trying to sort out the order before they come onto the oval banking section. Ooh, look at this, back from James King. What a view we have here, all of the cars in a line behind looking for positions. You can see too wide there, Gaton Simsport against Rapid Motorsport. I think that was, trying to see who those two are. They're very close. I think that's Nick Postance and Craig Cockrell. You're right there. It's a close racing here, but I think they've gotten it all sorted out. And while these lot have been battling, it's allowed the front four to try and clear a space through. Jason Cooper with now Andy McEwen 1.2 seconds back. Arthur Panzel and Sam Smith close behind as well. So all of those front runners have been trying to build a margin. Jason Cooper already a second clear of the rest of the field.
Exactly. I mean, Jason Cooper's just got some pace that just can't be matched at this moment in time. It's fantastic to see. Again, might be a bit of a lunge there. I thought it was going to be, but no, it decided against it. Again, it was Lee Holmes trying to get past James Neve, tried to do a carbon copy of what he did last lap to no avail this time around, though. Again, they all slot back into position. One of the closest battles, as you say, with that top 4 as well. So we're going to go on to that more as we go. Moving a little bit further down the field, we now have Fiona Siddons from the Massey Logistics white number 27. Having a good battle with Mark Oliver. He's just gone a fraction too wide. Manages to keep the momentum up though. So positions not making themselves present at this moment. No overtaking opportunities as of yet. But again, that could all very well change. We still have 11 minutes to go of this race 1. And then we've got 3 races after. And now moving through, this is going to be an interesting. What's going to happen here going into the first of these 2 very, very fast chicanes? We've got up ahead, we've got Lee Holmes and James Neve. And then just behind as well, we've got James King versus Shane Piggott. So what is going to be? Oh, it all Constantine is up. And you know what? Lee Holmes has managed to make the position on James Neve. Cracking stuff there. And I think actually bunched the field up. So I wonder if Shane Piggott's going to be able to have a go now on James King. He's got the run. But meanwhile, yeah, great move there for Lee Holmes. Put his car exactly where it needed to be. Let's have a quick look at the goings on there. And do you know what? I think it's just going to be, yeah, round the outside. Fair play indeed, Ed, going around there on the outside into the chicane.
Oof. Cracking stuff there. He's carried the momentum through, and that is the key in these little MX5s, is momentum. They don't have the biggest of engines, so to utilize all of that power, you have to carry the speed through the corners and out. It's maybe not so much about slow in, fast out, but try and get it fast in, fast out, carry the speed through, as we're seeing here, especially through the first and second corners of this lap. You really lends itself to sort of just pitching it in and rolling the speed through. And you can see the cars very close together now. Lovely aerial shots of the Charlotte Roval before we come down to see the nitty-gritty, to see all of the drivers dicing for positions following this excellent midfield battle here. As I can update you on the goes on further in front, and you can still in second place. Sam Smith now in third. Arthur Panzel back down in fourth, but all the fighting is allowing Jason Cooper to build a margin further in front, so his race is getting from strength to strength.
It is indeed, absolutely. And as you say, it's not coming down at all. It's just the positions are just... I'm just trying to find out what happened actually with Arthur Panzel, because he was obviously running... at one point he was running up in P2, so I'm just going to have a quick look to see if we can find... Here is the overtake here. So what happened? Is it going to be similar to what we had? Yes, again, Andy McEwen just up the inside. Last of the late breakers, so good stuff indeed. Really smashes over the curve. Fantastic to watch. And then a little bit further down as well, we've got a... This is a pass on... this is from Fiona Siddons. Passing... that is Robert Noble. So Robert Noble just getting a little bit sketchy on the way, going through the last chicane. Then Fiona Siddons sends it around the outside. Crappy move there. Indeed. Andy McEwen, though, next target is Sam Smith. And I'm sure Sam Smith is going to want to keep Andy McEwen behind for as long as he possibly can. But Arthur Panzer, look at that. He's trying to have a go. Interesting position to overtake there. Maybe just putting his nose out there just to say, I'm still here. You're not getting rid of me that easily. And at the moment, everyone settling in a nice little order. I tell you what, Ed, actually, to be fair... We haven't seen as there's while we have had some incredible action. It's actually been as British sim races go, it's been a relatively tame first round, isn't it? In the first race here at Charlotte Roval.
Yeah, very respectful driving, very clean so far. We don't want to jinx it, of course. We know that things can happen in the VSR Mazdas, so we'll just keep our eyes open. Oh, look at this! As soon as I say that, there looks to be almost an incident waiting to happen, but they keep it through nice and clean. Nick Clibbins and Tom Griffiths going side by side. Tom Griffiths winning out on that occasion. And is Nick Clibbins vulnerable now from behind as Nick Postant's got the run? You can see that trying to close it down. It's difficult to get the slipstream to close in on the bankings. And then as soon as it evens out again, the drivers come into the braking zone. Don't go for a fight. But look, understeer, overcooks it and lights up the rears. Nick Clibbins loses control of the car and loses several positions in the process. He gets it up and running, but he might see his teammate go by around the outside. Let's have a look on board with Clibbins. So understeers on the way through and then gets a massive amount of oversteer, bounces over the curbs, And, well, there was only one way that was going to happen, and that car was going all the way around, gets it up and running, and he was passed by his teammate, Liam Stimpson. Nick Clibbins looking to try and salvage something from this race now in the final few moments. Got about, well, 6.5 minutes still to go in this first race, so it's not all over yet. Still 3 more races after this one for him to salvage some points. Look at this, on board with the Ryan Main. Oh, and again, curbs proving a little bit too much there. As soon as he comes back down to earth, the momentum of the car pitches him around to the left. Does very well, though, to stop the car before it goes into the wall and gets himself some damage. Speaking of another Year 1 racing car, though, look at this, Andy McEwen back up into 2nd place. You'd think it would be the lead of the race because there's clear track in front of him, but that's just the advantage Jason Cooper has. He's way off in the distance.
He is indeed, yeah, 5.7 seconds now. Good to show what battling can really, really hurt in regards to actually trying to make up some positions. There's battling further down the field. Luke Cooper has just passed James Clark. We also had as well Julian Schroer past Liam Stimpson as well, so you might be able to get some replays of those for you. I think, to be fair, actually, while we've got a little bit of possible downtime, as I'm going to say that, nope, we don't have any downtime because Shane Piggott is going to try and go up the inside of Tom Griffiths going into turn 1. Does he do it? Yes, he does, because Tom Griffiths gets the door shut firmly in his face. So the Shepherd Motorsport BSR number 127 making a move on Tom Griffiths. Good move there, very well calculated, very well good positioning there. Cracking stuff, can't argue with that at all. That was really, really good stuff indeed. And again, possibly a carbon copy of that move here between Robert Noble and that is Mark Oliver. And do you know what? Yes, it was indeed. So Robert Noble now going up the inside of Mark Oliver for a, like I said, a carbon copy position, an overtake through there. So fantastic stuff. I was going to say I thought we were going to have a bit of downtime there, but turns out no, we're not going to. Julian Schroer is now having a really good battle with Liam Stimpson, so this battle is still continuing. So we have to see how that plays out in the latter stages of this race. Less than 5 minutes to go for race 1. Bear in mind, everyone, less than 5 minutes to go before we see who will be taking race 1 victory. I mean, 6.9 seconds. That's a tall order. That's a very tall order. I have just seen as well, though. Let's have a quick look, see if we can see the move that originally happened with Annie McEwen. I just want to have a quick look a little bit further back from that. Again, just carries the overspeed going through into the first of the 2 chicanes. And again, just round the outside. Can't argue with it at all, can you, Ed, to be perfectly honest?
No, they're trying to defend the moves down on the inside, trying to see if that'll work out for him. But the amount of speed you can carry from the slingshot in the slipstream works wonders for just carrying the speed around the outside. The momentum is with you all the way into the corner and out it from that extra bit of speed. So we're seeing that now from Andy McEwen. He's just trying to extend that gap as we see. Oh, a moment there. Fiona Siddons goes past. That was, I believe, the triple Stewart of Douglas Stewart getting that corner all sorts of out of shape.
Yeah, a bit of a shame. They just tagged it a little bit wrong. And obviously, as you say, that just a little bit out of sorts there. But manages to compose it and continues moving forward, though. So keeps it pointing in a straight line, which is the main thing. We did just see Andy McEwen had a small off that we're being told. But manages, he's still maintaining P2. So it can't be, couldn't have been too tricky for him to navigate through. So just a small little gap. He has pulled a little bit on Sam Smith and Arthur Pansel. The gap is 0.3 of a second. If Arthur Pansel, though, also tries to have a bit of a go at Sam Smith, obviously that's going to help the situation quite heavily because that's just going to play into the hands of McEwen and he's going to be able to then pull away and pull that gap. So, you know, at the end of the day, something that we can have to see moving forward and see how that develops in the final stages. Meanwhile, a little bit further up the field, this is Luke Cooper versus just behind, which is James Clark. So both these drivers having a bit of a moment. Liam Stimpson has just had a incident that we're being told as well.
Oh, so Arthur Pansel's just got through on Sam Smith.
Ooh,
and Andy McEwen is allowing this to almost get his gap to on second.
He is indeed. Let's have a look at that instant replay here of the overtake. What is it going to be? Oh, look at that cut. But we need to see that in a different camera angle. I'm sorry. What a move that was. We have to see this again. Oh, that gets me excited. That does. Wowzers.
Oh, we might need to clean up in aisle down after that. That is beautiful stuff, though, isn't it? It's difficult not to get excited when you see a cutback as rich as that getting pulled off. Excellent stuff there from Arthur Pansel to hold his line, to stay firm from Sam Smith. And all of that has allowed Andy McEwen to get a bit of an advantage up at the front, and coming into the chicane, he's going to be able to take his line without troubles, and he always seems to be very strong on that area of the circuit as well. Coming into the final chicane, we always tend to find Andy McEwen is able to pull a little bit of time to the chasing pack behind. So we'll keep our eyes on this battle, and oh my word, that's the number 15 of Nick Poston that's getting very loose, managing to just about wrestle the car back under control, but loses out to Craig Cockrell here.
Yeah, shame there again. Just hit the curb run as the car compressed. Getting back on the power, just sent the car around. Not ideal. Not what you want, obviously. Again, manages to keep it going, so I said that is the main thing. It could be worse. Luke Cooper's going to try and have a go now on Glenn Humberstone, who is P1 in the Pro-Am category. Oh, that was a bit... Oh, just taps the wall as well. That's not going to help his situation in the slightest. And I'll tell you what, I think James Clark he was going to try and make the move then, but I think just got a little bit, I mean, to be fair, completely understandable, a little bit hesitant on what was going to happen with Luke Cooper, because if you hit that wall, I've done it many a time, it can actually then spit you out if you're not too careful, so I'm guessing that's what James Clark was looking at.
It was a pretty nasty hit. Is there steering damage done to Luke Cooper, who will, of course, only have this final lap to go? The car seems straight enough, so not too much worry for Luke Cooper. They'll be able to carry on till the end of the race. Speaking of Cooper, his brother Jason is on the final lap here. He'll be able to come across the line for a brilliant race victory. You can see him just coming into the mid-chicane on the banking, and only one last little bit to go before we see him take a thoroughly and richly deserved race victory here this evening. Lights to flag, domination job from Jason Cooper. What more can you say other than it's got his evening off to the perfect start here? Just through the final chicane now, bounces over the curbs, carries the momentum, comes across the line to take the first race victory of the evening. With a pace like that, you'll have to imagine he's a rich contender for several other race victories this evening. Andy McEwen, Alpha come across the line, but look at this, Tom Griffiths down the inside. No. Oh, but there's contact on the exit. He's going to have to Herbie it backwards across the line. Is he able to get it across just in front of... Oh, not in front of Nick Poston. It's Tom Griffiths comes across the line, though, in the top 10.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame there, really, but we'll have a look at that quickly before, once we do the spinning wheel to decide the next grid. We will have a look at that because I'm interested to see what happens. Ryan May, though, can he get a bit of a cutback? He's going to give it a go, though. It's going to be close. That was a little bit naughty there from Robert Noble. I think even with that little bit, you probably wouldn't. I don't think Ryan May would have made that, but a little bit naughty there, trying to just cut across and close the door a little bit too aggressively. But again, I'm sure that wouldn't have affected the results. Yeah, what happened here then? Let's have a look at the goings-on as to... Do you know what? Actually, what happened as... I don't know where I'm looking here, but I don't think we're actually going to be able to get a replay of it, unfortunately. Can't quite see it. So, a little bit tricky for us to have a look at that, so I do apologise. A couple of people left to go, but in the meantime, though, Ed, we have, obviously, our favourite thing to do here at the end of every race. We've got to spin the wheel. And I believe we may not have Ed here. His internet, again, from all the excitement, can't quite contain itself. And so hopefully we're going to have him back in but a few moments' time. But as we are here and as we're ready to go, we are going to be spinning the wheel now. So as you can see, we've got one full reverse grid and obviously the rest are positions. So let us see. Let's spin the wheel and see what it's going to be. Whatever it is, it's going to be interesting. It's a 26 reverse, top 26 reverse grid, although with the cars that we have, I believe that is near as makes no difference as a full reverse grid. It may very well be indeed pretty much a full reverse grid. So there we are, top 26 ready to go. Exciting stuff, a fantastic race one that we have, and again, as always, have a very, very interesting and a very good race one. We've got 3 more races to go, which again is absolutely fantastic stuff. We are going to be back in a few moments' time, so do bear with us. We haven't got anyone in the interviews at the moment in time, so we are going to run through also very quickly while we wait for Ed to come back. We're going to run through the results for you now. And as we go through, here are your results here for race 1 of round 8 of the BSR Tegiwa MX5 trophy. Jason Cooper taking the win by 9.3 seconds. Andy McEwen back up into P2. Good result from him. Arthur Panzer in P3 with Sam Smith in P4. Lee Holmes coming across the line in P5 with Shane Piggott in P6. We also then have James Neave in 7th with Craig Cockrell in P8. Nick Postance P9 with Tom Griffiths in P10. Glenn Humberstone rounds out in P11, taking the Pro-Am class win. Luke Cooper P12 with James Clark in P13. Nick Clemens P14 with Julian Schoer in 15th. James King 16th. Craig McDonald in 17th with Liam Stimpson in P18. Fiona Siddons P19 with Robert Noble in P20. Ryan Main P21 with Mark Oliver in 22nd. Michael Linscombe Hatsfield in P23. And Douglas Stewart in 24th. Thomas Burling, P25. Colin Sampson in 26th, with Simon Robson in P27, finishing a lap down. Unfortunately, Adam Fox not able to finish. I feel for Simon Robson because I believe he will miss out on the reverse grid only by 1 position. So I do feel for Simon Robson a bit there. But again, all good fun, all good stuff indeed. So yes, we are going to take a very short break now. We will be back for race 2 of round 8 here at Charlotte Roval. So make sure you don't go anywhere because it's going to be fantastic as always. It's going to be incredible racing as we normally see. Charlotte Roval, it's an interesting circuit. It's one that doesn't necessarily get used all that much, but at the same time doesn't detract away from the racing that we are going to have. Again, do you know what? I think we also have Ed back here as well.
Yes, I am. Great. Yeah, sorry about all of that. We've got a 26 reverse grid, and look who's jumped into the comms box. As soon as I come back, look who runs on in. Andy McEwen joins us in the commentary box for a quick post-race interview. And Andy, congratulations on a really hard-fought P2 there. Jason Cooper just proved a little bit too fast for you all.
I think we need to drug test his car. That's just ridiculous. He's just too quick, isn't he? But yeah, good race that actually. Happy with the Pro-Am win, and happy not to have binned it into a wall, which I've been doing a lot in practice this week. So yeah, not a bad one all round.
Yeah, have you been doing? I think I've seen you take part in the Monday races. How does that practice help drive you forward into the Tuesdays?
You learn a lot about what not to do because everyone's sort of quite happy to play a bit fast and loose with, you know, how much curb you can use and is it possible to go 4 wide through the final chicane, and yeah, we pretty quickly realised it's not, and then we all kind of calmed down a bit tonight. So but yeah, it's just good, especially for a relative rookie like me who's not really done much iRacing in general. It's you know, every lap I can turn is helpful really.
Yeah, well, you are going from strength to strength, and I think you're a great advert for this series because when you joined, to be honest, we weren't expecting you to be challenging for race victories. Maybe go Pro-Am podium here or there, but from then on, every time you competed, you've gone from strength to strength. So has it just been about the experience? Have you been able to pick up a few things from sort of your rivals?
Yeah, definitely. I learn quite well from watching how it's supposed to be done. So if I've learned a lot from following people like Arthur and Ben when he's been around, Ben Sharp, and Tom Griffiths as well in the early days. I learned quite a lot from him. So I can't thank them enough, really. I wouldn't be anything like this competitive without their help and guidance, even if they didn't necessarily realise they were giving me help at the time by letting me follow them around. But yeah, something's worked, hasn't it?
Yeah, it definitely has worked out well for you. And coming into the next 3 races, 26 reverse grids, so you're starting down the order of it. Do you reckon you can make up some moves?
To be honest, the reason I'm so happy that I got second in that one and a class win is because that was sort of the only race all night where your destiny's in your own hands. Now with these reverse grids, I think it's going to be carnage. The cars are lethal on cold tyres around here. And of course, if someone spins, it's just a big funnel. You've just got concrete walls either side. You can't really avoid them. So I'm predicting a bit of mayhem here, and if I can just pick my way through it, I'll be quite happy with that, really.
Yeah, definitely. Finishing each of the races probably is going to do you wonders because you do come into this race, I think, second in the Pro-Am. So this could be a very good chance for you this evening for your championship, Andy.
Yeah, that's not lost on me. I haven't worked out the drop scores for a while. I know I've missed a week, so that might be helping me. I don't know, but Yeah, it's there's a long way to go yet. Like I say, there's 3 hard races tonight where I'm very, very likely to end up crashing. So I won't get too far ahead of myself. Just before I go as well, I just want to dedicate this one a class win, admittedly not a race win, but I'm sure we've all heard of the news from Brands Hatch at the weekend, and the unfortunately we lost one of our volunteer marshals, who certainly those of us involved in real world motorsport we are so grateful for, and for one of them to have to pay the ultimate sacrifice for the sport they love is heartbreaking. So yeah, it's only a class win in some little silly sim racing championship, but I would like to dedicate it to them.
Absolutely, it's always a sad loss, but we've been able to carry forth and just see the outpouring of support, isn't it, for the Orange Army? So thank you very much, Andy, for your kind words.
No, absolutely. Hopefully I'll be able to get another couple of wins, and I don't know, I'll dedicate it to my snake or something like usual.
We'll see what happens, Andy. We'll see if we can have a chat to you later on in the evening. Andy McEwen leaves the commentary box now, and we will have to leave for a moment, get into the next server. I'm going to give my PC a bit of a kick up the backside, and hopefully we'll all be up and running in a few moments' time. Stay tuned to Absolute Sim Racing, because the racing is still carrying on here at Charlotte Roval. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Absolute Sim Racing for the second race in the 8th round of this series here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. The Roval course, the same course that NASCAR's use around this track with that chicane at the end of the lap. It's been proving to be a very exciting venue to come to for racing. Jason Cooper took the race victory. Andy McEwen, a brilliant Pro-Am victory in second place. And, well, it was a wonderful, wonderful race, wasn't it, Dan? It was a shame that my internet was dropping out for half of it, because it would have been brilliant to watch it all the way through.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, it was a as British sim races go, there was obviously some fantastic overtakes, but not necessarily in the volume that we would normally see. Although, again, we've got 3 races left, and I'm sure it's going to get even better as the races go on. There's going to be even more action, even more excitement, especially now with these reverse grids. And let's be honest, Nearest makes no difference. This is a full reverse grid.
Yeah, you can see the cars now lining up on the grid. Colin Sansom, pole position with Thomas Burling alongside him on the front row with Douglas Stewart, Michael Linscomb, Hatfield, Mark Oliver, Ryan Main, Robert Noble, Fiona Siddons, Liam Stimpson, and Craig McDonald, who make up your top 10, with James King 11th and Julian Schroer 12th position. Then further down through the order, we should be able to see 13th place Nick Clibbins ahead of James Clark, 15th Luke Cooper, Glenn Humberston, Tom Griffiths in 17th ahead of Nick Postons, Craig Cockrell, James Neve rounds out the top 20 ahead of Shane Piggott, Lee Holmes, Sam Smith, and Arthur Panzel. And I think the racing is about to get underway. You can see the rest of the cars lining up there. You can see the lights coming on, the engine notes begin to rise, and we go racing here for the first time this, oh, not for the first time, but the second time this evening. Getting carried away with myself here. Colin Sansom into the first corner now, getting a nice run through ahead of Douglas Stewart. Side by side in the background, this is Nick Clibbins trying to find a way past Julian Schreier, not to be though for the moment. Further back, several drivers having moments. Arthur Pansel dropping back. Andy McEwen up the order, and they all, I think, have gotten through the first corner relatively cleanly.
They have indeed. You're absolutely right there. Still maintaining. There's some good overtaking happening already up and down the field. Andy McEwen's going to go side by side. Meanwhile, as well, we've got Jason Cooper going side by side with Arthur Panzel a little bit behind there as well. So these guys having a really good battle already. And then battled all the way up and down the field, which we're going to go to in a second. Seems to all Arthur Panzel just getting a little bit. Who was that in the background? That is Adam Fox that's had a moment there. Not too sure what happened. Could
Sansom's
possibly
had a moment as well.
Yeah, not ideal at all. Definitely not what you want. But again, a little bit further up the field, Fiona Siddons going to go around the outside potentially of James King. They're going to go side by side down for the first time going into the chicane. Fiona Siddons, though, can't quite put the car where it needs to be, but they're going to give it a go, though, on the cutback. Nothing happened at this moment in time. Look at that, 2x2, Noah's Ark style at the front for a brief moment. Then Michael Linscomb Hatsfield making the move.
Oh, there's contact. There's a spinner. Who is that? Is that James King?
James King.
He's coming down the order. What on earth happened there to the number 23? We've seen him slow now underneath the apron. So what on earth went on there for the RAF E Motorsports car to lose control like that? Oh, we come to the chicane and we see moves going on everywhere. Andy McEwen's going to make it 3 wide with the 288 Tech Racing cars of Lee Holmes and Mark Oliver, and he gets the move done. Andy McEwen having an absolutely otherworldly start to this race. He said the cold tires were lethal, but he's proven to be just so good at getting them working, because he's already up 12 positions into 13th place. If he can get through this field very quickly, and Jason Cooper, for example, might struggle, he could go for a race victory here.
Do you know what? He might very well be able to. The longer that Andy McEwen can stay in front, the longer actually Jason Cooper, and the more positions that he can keep between himself. He's actually one less now. He's just overtaken Mark Oliver. We're going to get the replays up in a couple of moments for you. But again, as we go through, Jason Cooper, he's only a couple of positions behind. That's the thing. So the more that Andy McEwen can get ahead, the faster he can get ahead, the better it's going to be. Nick Clibbins, that is Fiona Siddons, I believe had a little bit of a moment there, unfortunately, so cost a position or two. Still third in class, though, doing absolutely fantastic. A really, really good performance in the opening stages, with 3 minutes having gone. She's doing absolutely fantastic. Look at the train ahead. Oh my goodness, what is happening here as well? Julian Schroer, Nick Clemens, Fiona Siddons as well, all getting involved. Who is it going to be? Who's going to come out on top? I tell you what, Fiona Siddons may luck into something here as long as they keep it all sorted. Nick Clemens getting very jumpy over the curbs, manages to maintain it. 3 wide behind though again. Look at that. Who's it going to be? It's 700 wide as we go into turn 1 as well. Who's it going to be? I think it's going to be a bit of contact there between James Clark and Douglas Stewart. Manages to all go through clearly. Craig Cockrell versus Lee Holmes. That's Douglas Stewart as they're going through. Jason Cooper's just behind there as well. You can see biding his time. Andy McEwen though has got several more cars in between himself and Jason Cooper. Tom Griffiths has just made a move on Fiona Siddons, just up ahead as you can see. And Ed, you need to take over because I feel like I'm going to pass out.
Yeah, so let's have a look at this. Craig Cockrell looks down the inside of Douglas Stewart. Douglas Stewart chops the nose off, says, no way, you are not going past now. You're going to have to stay behind and try and fight another way through because I'm going to try and defend for all I'm worth. I need the slipstream from the cars in front. I want to make up positions myself, and that is exactly what he's doing now. He's getting a good run from the cars in front, but he's still vulnerable. Look at this. Craig Cockrell for Gaton Simsport is going to be forced to go the long way around. Douglas Stewart, the attitude of his car is very clear for all to see. He wants to keep this position, but down the inside into the chicane they go. Late on the brakes for Craig Cockrell. Does he get it stopped in time? Does he get the position? Yes, he does. Overcooks it slightly on exit, gets close to losing it. Tap of the wall might actually have corrected the car to keep the nose forwards. Brilliant stuff there from Craig Cockrell. Getting that move, diving down the inside, very committed. Left no bones about it. That was his corner, and he was going for it. So now, what is he going to do in trying to catch up to those in front? That has left a bit of a gap to the cars ahead. Not really got the slipstream, but then coming through the chicane. No, we can see Douglas Stewart. He's got a mistake there. Was that, or was there a little bit of contact perhaps coming through the final chicane? Whatever the reason is, he's had to cut across and lost a lot of time as well. Having a look as well, has there been a moment? I think actually Andy McEwen and Nick Postitz have been involved in an absolute ding-dong battle up in front. Andy McEwen now up into 8th. Watching Craig McDonald, though, trying to keep the other Year 1 racing car at bay of Ryan Main. Here's a replay of all the James King incident, and it seems that it was 2 cars going for the same bit of tarmac on the banking.
Yeah, it's a shame. Again, 2 cars, unfortunately, not fitting into one space. So yeah, that was a bit of a shame. That was James King's one there, and then Arthur Panzel had a moment with Sam Smith. Let's have a quick look as they go through. If we just speed it up and then we'll slow it back down, just to give. Oh, Arthur Panzel, I think just wasn't able to maintain or just missed his braking point. And then look at that. I mean, he was a passenger by that point as well, wasn't he? There was no way. Did get a bit of a helping hand around though. By who was that? That's Sam Smith. So not ideal. Definitely not the race that. Definitely not the start. The opening few laps that Arthur Panzer wanted, and then yeah, it was just that was a bit of a shame, unfortunately. And again, it's just the amount of overtakes that we had has just been absolutely amazing, and they're still going along. I can't get over the size of this grid. Oh, that was a bit of a tap there. Glenn Humberstone, that was a bit of a tap. Jason Cooper goes, thank you very much, as he nearly gets taken out by a very, very sideways Glenn Humberstone from the 88 Tech, number 21. He's going to lose 1 position, and he's going to lose a 2nd to James Clark as well. So he's following Jason Cooper on the way through. Andy McEwen's up into P6 now. Liam Stimpson having a cracking race. Nick Clemens has just got past Michael Lindstrom-Hatfield. No, he hasn't, because Michael Lindstrom-Hatfield wants to go around the outside going into turn 5. Decides against it, though. So Nick Clemens up into P2. Some cracking stuff indeed. Racing all the way up and down the field, which is exactly what we like to see. And look at that down here as well. We were at the front of the field. Now we're nearer the back. And Craig McDonald's having a great battle here, along with himself and Thomas Burling. They've only got Ryan Main a few tenths up ahead as well. So see how that battle develops as you go. Meanwhile,
I'm following the progress of some of these cars at the front. Good that we've gone to this battle now, Dan, because I've been looking at the times. Andy McEwen has been closing up, and these lot battling is allowing him to close the margins even further. They have the advantage. Look at that, Andy McEwen just in the distance, in the background, like 2 seconds behind this fight. But you know that as soon as he gets to this fight, he can know that the race is on for the victory. It's all about getting through. It's cleanly, though, because he can see them go 3 wide in front, and he's thinking, oh my word, I'm going to be involved in this soon. Please, please, please don't go 3 wide with me. But You know what VSR are like, they'll try and make it 3-wide. We heard it, whispers, didn't we, from Andy, that there was going to be potentially 4-wide into the final chicane, but luckily we haven't seen that at all this evening. Look at that, though. Tom Griffiths sliding it down the inside, getting the move done into the first corner. Good overtake of that by the number 11. Don't count him out for a race victory, you know, because he's been having a very good turn of pace this evening.
Absolutely, very true indeed. You can't knock the battling that we've had here. Just looking a bit further down the field, though, because James King is having a bit of a look on James Neve as well. So battle of the Jameses. They're going to go side by side. Oh, there's a bit of contact. Who was involved there? Douglas Stewart just got tangled up. Manages to keep it going in a straight line. That was a well-recovered car then. That was very, very out of control. That was a bit of a send there from James Neve, wasn't it? There's a car from the back in front. That's James Clark. He's lost 3 or 4 positions already. He might lose a couple of more as well. But James Neve, that was a send and a half. Didn't quite make it stick on James King. But I tell you what, he's really wanting that position. And he wants it now. He doesn't want it in 2 laps' time or 5 laps' time. He wants it right now. Intervals... I mean, again, it's just a sea of yellow and orange as we normally see in these races. Nick Clibbins, though, the gap is very, very close between himself and Liam Stimpson. They're going to go side by side. 2 teammates here. This is exactly what you want, isn't it? You want teammates battling. I'll tell you what, one person that does, though, Tom Griffiths, he's in P3. Is he going to try and make a move? He might very well do. Is he going to do the double? No, he's not. Nick Clibbins now goes down. He loses a position now to his teammate Liam Stimpson. But look at Andy McEwen. He's only a few seconds behind. But look at Jason Cooper. He's not too far behind as well. Don't count him out. Nick Clemens is going to lose a position though to Tom Griffiths. They're going to go side by side going down into turn 2. This is going to allow Clemens to get the inside of turn 3. So unless, no, you cannot. I thought Griffiths were going to try and hold it on the outside. Does a bit of a cheeky little cutback though. Doesn't quite work. That's allowing Julian Schroer to catch up. But Andy McEwen, as you say, and you can just see a little bit there. Jason Cooper getting frustrated. He wants to try and make some moves as quick as we can. He's only got 5 minutes to do it exactly. Now, I think Andy McEwen here is in a better position. He is definitely in a better position.
Absolutely, 5 minutes to go. 5th place for Andy McEwen. What can he do? In the background here, you can see these two battling. They'll be slowing each other down. Might look to try and get the best run possible out through this upcoming chicane. Look at that. Tom Griffiths, Nick Clibbins side by side. The inside line is going to work wonders for Tom Griffiths. We've seen how committed he can be late on the brakes. Does he get it stopped in time? Just about. Slows down the others. And Andy McEwen is going to have a monstrous run now. He's going to be able to get into the slipstream of the number 13. But number 13 dips in front of Julian Schroer. So all of a sudden, Andy McEwen loses out on his advantage. Has to drop back inside. Get the extra amount of speed and maybe look for a move into the final chicane. Looks for a little bit, but then instead goes for the much better run again. He's so strong through these chicanes, just struggling at the moment to find a way through. But into the first corner, gonna try and send it down. But great defending there from Julian Schroer. Saw the move was happening, gave him the inside and just carried the momentum around the outside. So a wonderful defense that from the 444. Look at this though. Craig Cockrell and Luke Cooper together are in for a bit of a battle, and Craig Cockrell wins out on this occasion. Luke Cooper just can't carry the speed through to try and get his nose in front. Look at that. Very, very twitchy on the exit. You can see that these drivers are getting the cars right on the ragged edge, and we come on to now James King trying to have a good recovery drive back up through the field following the incident at the start of the race in the first lap coming into the final chicane that saw him really taking out contention for a good result, and now is trying to salvage something else from it, of course. Oh, that's close there between himself and Fiona Siddons. Fiona's getting squeezed. She's in the middle. She doesn't really know which way to go. She's so just loose with the car. I think she's just not quite got the straight line speed and is trying to get out of the way, trying not to get caught up in any incidents, and then looks for a good run out through there. But James King, great stuff there. Had to have his heart in his mouth there. As speaking of which, Andy McEwen might have had his heart in his mouth and making up 2 positions there ahead of Tom Griffiths and Nick Clibbins. And now into 2nd place, Andy McEwen. So let's have a look at some of the moves he's been making. He can only see 1 car now separating himself from race victory.
He can indeed. Look at Jason Cooper, though. He's tantalisingly close. It's the top 7, the top 8 are just so close. Anything can happen with 2 minutes left to go. Jason Cooper's going to try and fly up the inside of the number 13. That is going to be Nick Clibbons. He manages to get it through turn 3. Can he hold it through turn 4? Yes, he can. That's another position. Exactly what he wants. Not what Andy McEwen wants, but exactly what he needs. James Never's had a bit of an off track. He's had a bit of a moment. We're going to possibly come back to that if we do have time. Let's have a look at what happened, though, to Tom Griffiths, because he did lose out on a couple of positions. I just wonder if he just didn't particularly get the run that he wanted. You know what? I don't think he really had a choice. This was a couple of laps ago. And, yeah, just...
I think it was actually just
that was just now, wasn't it?
Onto it. Yeah, just now. So, good stuff there from Jason Cooper. This is Andy McEwen making up those positions. You can see Tom Griffiths mistake. They're running wide, and Andy McEwen slots down through, says, I'm taking that. And now we're going to follow him up to the front of the field, coming into the chicane. What a run this is from Andy McEwen. He gets it done nicely. He's going to be forced to go around the outside, but the speed is there for him. On the banking, the outside line is going to hold him up, not going to work too well for him. However, he's going to be there or thereabouts into the final chicane, and he's going to have to fight for this one, Andy McEwen. You can tell that he's not going to have an easy time of things down the inside into the final chicane. Has he got the position? Yes, he has, and he starts the final lap. The white flag is being waved for Andy McEwen. He feels vulnerable. Oh, look at that, a charge from Liam Stimson into the first corner. Can he carry the speed through? No, he doesn't quite. A little bit of a touch. So now the battle is on for the race victory. Andy McEwen not able to get the move done. Just about Jason Cooper in the mix as well. Oh my word, this is going to go right down to the wire. The white flag lap here. Final time of asking for all of these drivers. Andy McEwen now looks to go around the outside of Liam Stimson. This surely can't work out for him. No, it doesn't. He slots back in behind, and now he has Jason Cooper up there. Jason could take a second race victory of the evening. Second race victory on the bounce. Look at the speed he takes onto the banking, and there's contact there. Dipping onto the apron, Andy McEwen. Jason Cooper can see a chance now, but this is Andy McEwen's race to try and fight back, to try and get the race victory that he said he was aiming for this evening. A squeeze by Jason Cooper for the lead. Late braking there, and a lunge down the inside. Tom Griffiths trying to go for the position. Doesn't work, and Andy McEwen's around. No, Andy. Oh dear. Another car around as well. That's Nick Postance. Oh my word. Let's focus though on this fight in front. Liam Stimson, Jason Cooper battling all the way until it's to be an amazing race victory for Liam Stimson if he's able to hold off. But no, he just can't. Jason Cooper dives it down. Last chicane move. Wow, what a way to take the second race victory of the evening. Close fought affair. Heart rate must be pumping there for Jason Cooper. I know it is for me.
It's literally exactly the same. How on earth that they're feeling like that in the car, because that was just... I feel so bad for Andy McEwen. It was just... We'll have a look at if we can, I'll look at the quick overtake before, but I mean, wow. That was just... Jason Cooper obviously making it 2 out of 2, so fair play so far. A completely 100% record at the moment, especially as he was at the back of the grid. So the first challenge there for Jason Cooper, 25 positions made up. Really good stuff. Such a shame about Andy McEwen finishing in P13, 5th overall in the Pro-Am, but he will be kicking himself, I am sure. I'm just interested to see what happened though, because there was a very brave move. I couldn't quite see who that was. Was it possibly, as we're just having as a quick look, it might have been just having... Do you know what? I don't actually... I think it was Jason Cooper. No, it wasn't Jason Cooper, actually. It was... let's just have a quick look and see if we can see. Before we do that, actually, let's spin the wheel, I think, Ed, shall we?
Yeah, let's have a quick spin of the wheel to see who's going to come out on top, who's going to get the all-important pole position for the third race of the evening. Some small comfort for drivers like Andy McEwen that lost it right at the end is that they're still in contention for a good result should the wheel favour them. But it's a 30 reverse grid, so for all intents and purposes, a full reverse grid here this evening. So I think for my money, that is any drivers that finish 1 lap down are still counted, but 2 laps down, you are not eligible for the reverse grid. So we'll see the order up on your screens now. Jason Cooper, confirmation there that he took the race victory. Had to fight for it, only was able to get into the lead on the final corner, on the final lap. Cracking stuff from current championship leader Liam Stimson there in second place. Just tried to keep Jason Cooper at bay, but it wasn't enough in those final few moments. Tom Griffiths coming through for a well-fought P3 ahead of Julian Schroer, Craig Cockrell, Michael Linscombe Hatfield, Shane Piggott, Nick Clivins, Lee Holmes, James King, James Clark, Ryan Main, Andy McEwen down in 13th ahead of Fiona Simmons, Craig McDonald, Glenn Humberston, Douglas Stewart and Luke Cooper. So then we come down to the rest of the field, and it is as far as you can see there. Robert Noble, Thomas Burling, Colin Sansom, Nick Postance, James Neve, and I believe actually it is Nick Postance who will be reverse grid pole position there. James Neve just loses out because he finished 2 laps down, doesn't get any points, and also insult to injury doesn't get reverse grid pole position. Arthur Pansel down in 25th, ahead of Adam Fox and Sam Smith, who rounds out the finishers for this second race of the evening here at Charlotte Roval. So Dan, what a finish that was. Jason Cooper into the final corner, able to take advantage, but what happened there to Andy McEwen? Was it just too much curb, or was there a tap?
I think, do you know what? I think there was a tap. Let's just have a look at this. Let's have a look at it from a little bit further back. So, as we're coming down now, I mean, if you were to just take this as a still image, you'd be like, oh, it's the first lap. No, this is what happened at the end. Amazing stuff. So, as we can see, so a bit of a post F1 style breakdown here. So Andy McEwen, he's got no one around him at this moment in time. Look at the car to the right hand side. That's Julian Schroer. It's a very last minute lunge. If we were to just pause it just there,
yeah, Tom Griffiths.
Yeah, you
that
can just see.
Lunge.
So yeah, sorry, Tom Griffiths. Apologies. So it just I actually want to let's quickly move past that.
Oh yeah, and there was a tap between himself and Schroer that happens after the lunge, isn't it? This is a better view of it. Definite hit there on the rear of Andy McEwen. Nothing that Andy could have done. He had to slow down because of the lunge down the inside of Tom Griffiths. It wasn't Tom Griffiths' fault for causing the incident. Andy McEwen just had to slow down to make sure there wasn't contact. Fording track space like he was supposed to do. The inside line was taken. The corner was not Andy's anymore. Had to slow it down. Unfortunately, I think Julian Schroer was caught out by Andy McEwen slowing down.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame because it all happens in a split second. You really, really don't know. So again,
the lunge comes from so far back as well that Andy McEwen has to back out to avoid the contact. And then that just has a massive effect, doesn't it? Because look at this. Carrying too much speed there. Andy McEwen, he can't go any faster. There's a car right in front of him.
It's a tricky one, actually, because looking at it from that angle, whether, again, the stewards I'm sure will be looking at it, but what they'll do is they'll probably see, was there time for Julian Schroer to react to the fact that Andy McEwen was going to be going slower? He wasn't at the optimal line, so that would have cost him naturally some time, and that would have cost him some pace going through, as you saw. So it's one of those ones they may sort of look and say, was there an adequate enough time for Julian Schroer to react? It's an interesting one, actually, and this is exactly why we have stewards, so they can dive into these sort of races and dive into these post races to see and really to have a look at them in detail, because we can say several different options and different camera angles produce different results. So it'd be an interesting one, actually. But yeah, absolutely gutted for Andy McEwen there. Big shame. But ultimately, again, I mean, Jason Cooper with another race win, 2 out of 2. I mean, he's halfway there.
Yeah, wonderful stuff there from, like you mentioned, Jason Cooper. But I think we're going to go to a short break. We have a full reverse grid upcoming for the third race of the evening. So stay tuned to Absolute Sim Racing. We'll be with you very shortly. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Absolute Sim Racing here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. The Roval course here that has seen 2 race victories go the way of Jason Cooper. But it wasn't all his own way, was it, in that second race? Dan, what a move on the final lap in the final chicane.
Oh, absolutely. It was again, the final chicane, great stuff. All came down to the wire, which is absolutely what we love to see. And again, I'm sure we're going to see more of that in these next 2 races. A bit of a shame again. I know I keep saying, but really a bit of a shame for Annie McEwen for that last lap incident. But again, he'll bounce back, I'm sure, and he'll be ready to go for race 3. But Jason Cooper, well, he tried to do it at I believe it was Red Bull Ring, couldn't quite make it, and unfortunately with the last race did hamper him a little bit. However, I mean, this could well be. I don't think anyone's done it ever before. They've had a back-to-back, a double back-to-back victory. So, I don't know, Jason Cooper, he's halfway there. He is halfway there, and he came from the back of the field in the last race, remember, all the way to winning it on the last corner of the last lap. So, I mean, if anyone can do it, Ed, have those 4 race wins in 1 round, it's definitely Jason Cooper.
Yeah, it certainly could be. We'll have to keep our eyes on his progress up through the field in this 3rd race that I believe isn't too far from getting underway. And what ends the race as well, it was from Tom Griffiths. He had to make a few places in that final lap. He managed to find himself in the podium places right at the end, so he had a good race as well. Keep your eyes out for him making his way up through the field, because he did put some cracking overtakes in that 2nd race. But the cars are forming up onto the grid, and we can talk you through the starting order for the 3rd race of the evening. Nick Poston's pole position ahead of Colin Sansom on the front row, with Thomas Burling, Robert Noble, Luke Cooper, Douglas Stewart, Glenn Humberston, Craig McDonald, Fiona Siddons, and Andy McEwen seeing himself up in the top 10. So a very good chance for Andy to get that race victory there from P10. Ryan Main, 11th place for him, with James Clark alongside in 12th. James King, 13th, ahead of Lee Holmes, Nick Clibbins, Shane Piggott, Michael Linscombe Hatfield, Craig Cockrell, Julian Schreier, Tom Griffiths there in 20th place, ahead of Liam Stimpson, Jason Cooper, James Neve, and Mark Oliver. And then the other drivers just on the grid, Arthur Panzel and Sam Smith. Arthur Panzel is going to try and make something of this evening, because he's not been having the best of fortunes. Obviously, in that 2nd race, didn't score any points, but this is his chance for redemption here as the lights come on, and we will go racing here. Nick Poston's off the line. What can he do from P1? And it's a good start, actually, from Colin Sansom around the outside into turn 1. He is going to go. Cracking get off the line there for the number 67. I don't think he's able to get the position. Look at this, though, Andy McEwen. What a start from him, already up into P6.
Indeed, great stuff. Might even be in P5 in a couple of moments if he's...
Griffiths is round.
Really
Griffiths spins in the background.
So you are correct. Tom Griffiths has had a spin in the background. That is going to cost him. It's also going to cost other people around him as well. We're going to get a replay of that for you in a few seconds' time. It's really close, a little bit further down the field. What's Jason Cooper going to do? He's already up into he's already moved up into P17. He's going to want to make up as many positions as he can, as quickly as he can. Have to keep an eye on that. Annie McEwen, though, going back round, going to go around the outside. Whoa, all of that already on Nick Poston. What a cracking move that is round the outside. That's a tricky corner to take as well at the best of times. You've got to be so precise, and manages to keep it exactly where it needs to be. So cracking stuff there. As we go down, Michael Linscombe Hatsfield now is going to go alongside with Arthur Panzel. So I wonder if that is actually not Arthur Panzel. Apologies, that's Julian Schroer. They're going to come through, able to do anything? No, not this time round. James Neve has also had a bit of a moment there, so a bit of a shame. Andy McEwen, though, still managing, as you can see up there in P3. Oh, Michael Linscombe Hatfield getting a little bit too close for comfort there, going through the first of the 2 chicanes. I'm sure he'll not want to be doing too much of that. All that much. Do you know what? Again, take your pick. Take your guesses here, ladies and gentlemen, what's going to happen here, because honestly, not an absolute... Haven't got the foggiest. That's a bit of smoke kicked up there. Can't quite see who that was. Oh, cars off everywhere. Shane Piggott is one of them. That's now Julian. That's now Jason Cooper. Oh, I tell you what, who's missing a front wheel? I think Nick Postons is missing a front wheel there. I think he's missing his front left, so I wonder if he's hit the curb a bit too hard. And that's a very realistic problem, actually, because something like that could happen easily.
Oh, no, there's the 35 and Lee Holmes has lost it going into the 2nd corner, I believe. What on earth happened there? A big moment there for the 88 Tech Racing driver. Andy McEwen with the bit between his teeth, just down the order a little bit now. I think has dropped back from Luke Cooper and Craig McDonald up in front, so I want to see what on earth happened up ahead, because there's been action everywhere we've been looking here. I think we missed out on a couple of things, and he's actually dropping even further back down the order. Something has definitely happened to the number 4 there. Andy McEwen not having the best of luck in the third race either.
No, very true. Like I said, it's a shame. Like I said, I really don't know what has actually happened to Andy. Where is he? He's all the way down there. Has he got damage? It doesn't look like it actually might have some on the front left corner. It's tricky to see with the livery. While we've got a small moment of respite, I'm just having a quick look. We've actually got Douglas Stewart versus Jason Cooper, who's already up into P5. So Jason Cooper possibly going to make up P4 if he can get past Douglas Stewart. They're going to go side by side as they come down into the final chicane. Oh, that was close. Manages to get it all sorted. I tell you what, they really hit that curb aggressively, didn't they? We've got a bit of now we've got a bit of respite here. Let's have a look at what happened. So obviously we did see James Neve had a bit of a moment at the start. Sorry, it was actually Tom Griffiths. But let's just have a quick look at that. So this is the start of the race. And again, as they go through going into turn 2... a bit of a tap there, unfortunately. I mean, that was netcode, so that was a bit of a shame. Bit of a shame there for Tom Griffiths. I think it was Jason Cooper. Couldn't really do all that much. And then James Neve had a bit of a moment. Is it going to be a tap? Oh, just hugs the car. I think grabs the curb on the inside, yeah. Just grabs the curb.
Oh, very good job, though, to avoid that. I think that was Arthur Pansel making his way through there. So, had to be on his A-game. And this is, oh my word, that might have been what happened with Andy McEwen. And it was actually, I think, potentially a slowdown that saw him lose all those positions. But, wow, what on earth was going on there into that corner?
Well, let's have a look at Nick Poston. So, just... Whoa! I mean, that'd be where the
goes over the roll cage of Andy McEwen.
Yeah, that would be where the where the wheel went. Then we just want to have a quick. I just want to have a quick look a bit further back on that, because let me just let's see if we can get as we go. Let's see if we can get Nick Poston's here. Oh, gets tapped. Gets tapped. Oof. Gets tapped by someone. I can't quite see who that is though. Could it be Douglas Stewart possibly that he gets tapped by? That could be what happened there, and as you say, that could very well be the cause of the slowdown for Andy McEwen, who has just got past. I tell you what, we can't keep up with all the timers. What is going on here? And I tell you why, it's because this battle is really kicking off. Ryan Main is now trying to make a move. Couldn't quite make it on Robert Noble, so he manages to maintain his position. And again, a little bit further down the field, James Neve is trying to work up the field. Currently in P20 overall, P8 in class. Tom Griffiths and Glenn Humberstone, they're having a bit of a battle as well. It's just absolutely, we just can't control it. The early incident that Tom Griffiths had, he's done well to recover, like I said, back up into P11. So really good stuff there for Tom Griffiths to recover back to where he is currently. And a little bit further up the field as well, James Clark is going to be going toe-to-toe with Craig Cockrell. Goes for, interestingly enough, goes on the outside line. I wonder if he's trying to make sure that he can maintain the momentum going through. But interesting enough, though, Craig Cockrell gets past without too much trouble. Is there going to be a bit of a lunge? Arthur Pandel's only in P7, so bear in mind he's up 18 positions. And he's definitely got the pace to be up a little bit more if he can maintain this momentum. Fantastic stuff there. Just saw side by side, I think that was James King and Liam Stimpson now had a bit of a go. It's Andy McEwen is also going to have a go around the outside of Robert Noble. So I think realistically for Andy McEwen, a top 10 would see him a good result here if he can maintain this pace from these earlier little incidents that he's had, which has been very unfortunate indeed. I'm genuinely staggered as, again, the racing... I'll tell you what, let's have a look at this. This is a replay here of Andy McEwen, so doing very well indeed. Does he get a little bit... Oh, I wonder if he hits the wall. Nope. Oh, just loses it.
Loses it. Cold tyres.
Yep. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, my word.
And then Fiona Siddons...
Fiona Siddons helps her out. Oh.
Well, I mean, I've never seen that ever in my 13 years of sim racing, to be perfectly honest. I've seen many cars roll
Anakin was due for a bit of fortune there, I think, after the first couple of races. So
He was indeed. I've seen Lee Holmes versus... sorry, that's Lee Holmes versus Ryan Main there. Ryan goes a little bit wide, allows Lee Holmes to go through. Might also allow Shane Pickett to go through as well, but Ryan Main says, nope, I've lost one position. Doesn't want to lose a second. He has got damage though, so just be cautious of that. It's whoever can get the slipstream off of Lee Holmes that we're seeing as your main focus now, and I believe it is going to be Ryan Main. But can he keep that momentum up? I don't think he can. And look at that. I think he's just going to drop back. 3 wide as they go through, down into the second game for the moment. But Mark Oliver's just driven round the outside of both of them. And Mark Oliver's now just gone, thank you very much, chaps. And off he goes.
Speaking of off he goes, look who's up in second place already. And while there is a gap, we know the pace of Jason Cooper. He's going to try and close up to his teammate up at the front of the field. Jason looking for his 3rd race victory on the bounce. This could be a very good chance for the Grand Slam, you know.
I mean, well, it could very well be. It could very well be. James Neve versus... This is Robert Noble as well. They're going to go side-by-side through turn 1, side-by-side through turn 2. Are they going to go through turn 3 side-by-side as well? They're going to give it a good old go.
Oh.
James Neve is not backing out. Neither is Robert Noble. They're still side-by-side, but I think James Neve has just got the upper hand. Yes, he does. So the Matthew Logistics number 7 car manages to maintain that position and go up there. James Clark's had a moment. We can see... You can see him dropping down the order. So is Douglas Stewart. So is Arthur Panzel. So is Julian Schroer. So what has happened there? Let us have a look. This is the replay. Is it all going to go a bit Pete Tong? So Douglas Stewart... they're a tap. Yep, that's definitely a tap. And then Julian Schroer just gets him... Oh! Well,
Ow,
I mean...
that was a heavy hit. And that was all 3 Zwicky racing cars, I think, involved in one incident.
Indeed, that's not what you want, is it, realistically? Let's have a quick look and see if we can find that on board. So this is Douglas Stewart now going on board. I wonder, is it just a little bit...
There's just a bit of contact on the way
I don't
into
know if
the
he just
corner.
cuts in. That's definitely not the sight you necessarily want to see. Yeah, that was a hefty hit. Hefty hit there. I think Arthur Basil took the brunt of that, unfortunately. As you said, with his teammate, unfortunately, running into the back of him, which is not what you want, by any stretch of the imagination.
At least this front end is safe. I think that the teammate that came into the back of him, I'm not sure who it was, it might have been Julian Schroer perhaps, that got caught up in all of that, just coming into the back, was going to have a lot of front end damage, and that could be race over, especially if there's any damage done to the engine. That could be a definite meatball flag waiting to happen. Into the final 5 minutes of this race. Let's have a look at some of the progress that some of the drivers have made up through the field. Let's have a look. Julian Schroer, yep, damaged too much to the car, pulling off, coming into the pit. So we were right there. Meatball wasn't able to bring it through until the end of the race. Probably finishing a few laps down and won't be able to have anything to cheer about in this 3rd race. At least his teammate Arthur Panzel, who's made up plenty of positions this race, will be able to hopefully take something away from this race. Currently up in the top 10 positions. It's just a very, very hectic race. We were due for one of these though, weren't we, after how careful, how sort of clean the racing had been. So I think we were due for a little bit of chaos in the 3rd. Just having a look as well though through the rest of the field. And is that Andy McEwen in the pits? Has something happened to number 4? I think there has been, unfortunate for Andy. Let's have a look at this fight though. Fiona Siddons having a bit of a battle here with Nick Clibbins. She's getting into the slipstream, dropping in behind. Is there any way for a move into the chicane? Going for the inside line, but having to brake a little bit earlier, conceding the position. So Nick Clibbins trying to make his way back up through the order. Jason Cooper, though, closing in the gap now, under 2 seconds for the lead of the race. Sooner rather than later, you will have to imagine him getting ahead of his teammate and brother, and I don't know if there's going to be too much fighting going on between the pair of them.
Do you know what? I was thinking this. I wonder if Jason Cooper is just going to... If they are going to have a bit of a battle, or Luke Cooper is going to let him by. I mean, the gap is coming down quite considerably. So I wonder here, it came down 3/10 just in that one there. It's now down to less than a second. So it could very well be, yeah, as you say, I think Luke Cooper's just backing off a little bit just to make sure, you know, maximising maximising pace there and maximising points. Shane Piggott and Fiona Siddons, they're having another battle, as you can see a little bit further down. It's going to quickly go back to that. Again, here is Shane Piggott versus Fiona Siddons. So Fiona Siddons is going to try and go around the outside. Is it going to be a move? Drives on the outside, gets the run. Exactly where it needs to be. Good stuff indeed there. So Shane Piggott couldn't quite keep that momentum up as they go through into the first of the 2 chicanes. Again, there's a bit
For
of
the
a battle
leaders
up ahead.
coming on here. Yeah, Jason Cooper now under half a second as Sam Smith, I think, gets through on Douglas Stewart. I'll say that they're chopping and changing a lot. Look at this, Rob Noble as well now. Just trying to get through, but does he overcook the corner? Oh, plants it over the curbs, mounts the sausage, and I think that's going to be a slow run out into the first corner. But look at the damage done to that car of Arthur Panzel. He was one of the drivers involved in that incident. Look at the harm on the front of his car. He's still able to come through with this. I think a little bit of a clip of the wall from Rob Noble. He's been in a few battles, but still carrying on himself. Look at this, 3 wide in the background coming into the very quick sort of double right-hander section in the infield and then down through the left. I just love how this track undulates. The elevation change is something you don't often see too much on Roval infield courses. So this is a good little circuit. It's providing us with some great racing. Look at this, Lee Holmes and Thomas Burling side by side. I think Thomas is going to just lose out on this occasion. The 88 Tech driver moving on through, looking for a top 10 finish if he can get it. And look at this. I think we're coming now to see Luke Cooper and Jason Cooper having a bit of a fight here up in front. I've just seen those two swap a few places, and I think Jason Cooper has just now gotten into the lead to start the final lap.
Yeah, very true. Like I said, there was a bit of a battle there, just a fraction, but then Jason Cooper, we know how quick he is going through. Although Luke Cooper still there or thereabouts, half a second, less than that now. It doesn't take too much for a little bit of a mistake to happen from Jason Cooper. And then Luke Cooper's going to be right back on. If he can keep within 0.3 of a second, we might very well see him pull a little bit of time as he goes through before the latter half of this race going down the banking. So it's not over yet for Luke Cooper. And similarly, it's not over yet for Jason Cooper. He's got to keep his wits about him. Because if a position opens up, I can imagine that Luke Cooper, is going to be capitalising on the position without a shadow of a doubt. Oh no, what has happened to Colin Sampson there? Oh my goodness. Well, that's 2 cars we've now had with missing wheels. And I mean, that's a MX5 that has seen better days, to say the least. And you know what? I don't think there's actually an option that we can see what happened there. So big shame. Might try and see what possibly happened here. No, so Colin lost the wheel way before then. So we'll have to see. Maybe if we can catch up with that a little bit later on. Meanwhile, though, look at this. Jason Cooper, he's got 0.6 of a second now, Ed. I think realistically, this is going to be 3 out of 3.
Yes, it will. You can see the checkered flag being waved here for Jason Cooper. Comes across the final chicane to make it 3 from 3 of the evening. And that brings up his total tally of wins this season to 16. Which is, well, a very, very strong performance from himself. Shows that he's got an over 50% conversion rate from all of the races so far this season. Will he be able to make it a Grand Slam, though? It all depends on what the reverse grid wheel does. As you can see, cars very close go across the line, and Rob Noble just able to finish ahead of Nick Clibbins. And look at this, Colin Sansom having to try and guide a very, very poorly looking car home. He'll be able to get across the line, score some points. Oh, he comes into the pits, but he will, of course, be able to get this. And look at this, car seems normal now. Have we found the point where
possibly
Colin Sansom loses that wheel? So over the curb, the second one. All seems to be fine. Does he hit the wall? No, so he carries on going. Is it into the final chicane now? Have a look here. Car, look at that. Seems fine. Nothing wrong here.
I don't really see where else it could be, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, it's very tricky. We did see him slow coming across the line here, so this might be where it all goes wrong. Does he hit the wall?
No,
it all
I may have got the wrong lap.
So you might have gotten the wrong lap, but what was going on there with Colin Sansom's car?
While we
It's
try
very
and find
strange
it-
that we couldn't find it.
Yeah, while we do try and find that, while we are here, let us do the spinning wheel for the final time this particular race. So let us spin it, see where it comes. It's been almost 3 full reverse grids. What is it going to be? 26, so pretty much a full reverse grid again. I believe.
Yeah, I think that is, for all intents and purposes, from the non-finishers, we've had a full reverse grid. So that will mean Jason Cooper will have to start from the rear of the field once more. But we've done it once before. He can do it again. He's going to look to try and make it a grand slam of victories here at the Charlotte Roval. You can see the race results up on your screens now. Jason Cooper and Luke Cooper make it a Swift Cooper Esports 1-2. Craig McDonald taking the Pro-Am class victory. Oh, there was the incident there.
There it was.
Ooh, and massive hit into the wall, which, well, saw the race end for Colin Sansom, unfortunately. You can see that the rest. Craig Cockrell there in fourth for Gatton Simsport ahead of Tom Griffiths, Michael Linscombe Hatfield, Glenn Humberston, James Mead, Liam Simpson, and Lee Holmes. They're in 10th position. Thomas Sperling, 11th, ahead of Rob Noble, Nick Clibbins, Arthur Panzel, Mark Oliver, Fiona Siddons, Shane Piggott, James Clark. And then let's have a look down through Sam Smith, 19th, Ryan Main, 20th. Ahead of Douglas Stewart and Colin Sansom, 3 wheels on his wagon, but still coming across the line, finishing that race. And he's got himself first grid pole position as a result. Julian Schreier there down in 5th place. One of the many drivers, like Andy McEwen has just said, who reckons that he has probably walked under one too many ladders this on the run up into this race. Not been having the luck, but same can be said, of course, to James King and Nick Postens. But look who joins us in the commentary box, Michael Linscombe Hatfield, who took an AM class victory. Congratulations. Well, that was a exciting race, making up 11 places on your way through there.
Honestly, that was there were a lot of crashes, so like back-to-back 6th in 2 very different ways.
Yeah, absolutely. A very hectic race from yourself, but you know, home soil, Charlotte Roval, was that a circuit that you thought you could grab something from?
I mean, I'm a big fan now. I hadn't raced here before, but now, absolutely. But anyways, just wanted to pop in for the old AM class victory and say hey.
We always love talking to drivers after they've had a good result, and any point, to be fair, after a race, if there's been something noteworthy, any drivers can pop in. But Michael, just talk us through your perspective of that race, because it was hard fighting all the way through the field. What was your approach?
Honestly, just juke the plumes of smoke ahead of me, and then try and keep old Glenn behind me on the last lap there. So, but other than that, nothing too crazy. But anyways, I'm gonna pop back out. But good talking to y'all. See you later.
Thank you very much there, Michael, who's come into the commentary box. And I think, Dan, that is all of the drivers that have come in to have a chat with us this evening. So we will move to the 4th and final race victory. Can Jason Cooper make it a Grand Slam? I want to get your thoughts on this before we go, Dan. Can he do it? Can he get the Grand Slam?
Oh, I mean, I don't know. Do you know what? It's going to be close. It's going to be close. I reckon he can do it, to be perfectly honest. We saw that nearly at the Red Bull Ring. Unfortunately, it was close, but no cigar in the last race. I mean, if he doesn't get caught up in anything, as he did with the Red Bull Ring, I mean, I think he's got an opportunity. I can't see any reason why not.
Yeah, so stay tuned to Absolute Sim Racing. The 4th and final race is about to come up, and we could witness history here in the BSR MX5 Tegiwa Trophy. Never have we seen a driver get a Grand Slam of 4 victories in one evening. This could be very big. You want to stay tuned for this. Hello everybody, welcome back to Absolute Sim Racing for the fourth and final race of the evening here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway road course. Same version that the NASCARs use, of course, with the final chicane that was added and changed about and all that stuff. I think either last year or year before, I can't remember now. Time is a blur. Time doesn't make any sense now in this wonderful, wonderful world that we live in. But one thing that does exist that is very real is the chance for Jason Cooper to get a grand slam of victories and also a clean sweep because he got pole position and he's got fastest lap in every single race up until now. So he's a very quick peddler. Keep your eyes from him because he'll be starting way at the back. I think the cars, though, are lining up on the grid as we speak, Dan.
They are indeed very, very true. So here we do have the grid for the final race. Colin Sampson P1 with Douglas Stewart in second place. Ryan Main P3 with Sam Smith in fourth. James Clark in P5 with Shane Piggott in P6. Then we've got Fiona Sidden 7th, Mark Oliver in P8, Arthur Pandel 9th, Nick Clemens in 10th, Robert Noble 11th, Thomas Burling in P12. Further down the field, Lee Holmes P13, Liam Stimson 14th with James Neven 15th, Glenn Humberstone 16th, Craig Cockrell 17th, Craig McDonald in 20th, Michael Lins from Hatfield 17th, Tom Griffiths 18th, Craig Cockrell 19th, and Craig McDonald in P20.
Sorry to come across you there, but the cars are
indeed,
about
we have to get going. We are.
So we can see them lining up on the grid now. Colin Sampson pole position. 3 was on his wagon last time, but all 4 there and all ready to go. 5 lights come on. There's a jump starter in the background. Colin Sampson gets off to a brilliant start, as does Douglas Stewart. They'll be going side by side into the first corner. Inside line for Colin Sampson is going to try and help him, but around the outside, Douglas Stewart sweeps on by into the lead. And is Sam Smith going to look for a move now? Is he going to try and snatch a good result? No, he doesn't quite have it. The cold tire's not working for him to take it down the inside. And oh, look, understeer in the front for Douglas Stewart. Loses out. Colin Sampson finds himself back up into the lead of the race. Sam Smith is looking to take all of them in one go. Look at that down the inside. Excellent move that from the Gaton Simsport 227. And Colin Sampson is getting really hung out to dry now again, losing a handful of positions in one go. Oh, it's not quite his way at the moment. Look at this though. Jason Cooper is going and going well.
Whoa.
Up 7 positions already, trying to find any way through. You can see he's trying to battle with, this is Tom Griffiths on the outside. Up in front as well, James Neve on the way into the corner. And look at this, he's boxed in. There's nowhere to go for him. There's a touch of smoke up in front. Is he going to get through this safety touch? Oh, there's contact. And he's just about gotten through. Hold your breath, everyone. Oh, that could have been curtains for Jason. He heard the contact, and I think he might need a new race suit after that, because proper heart in mouth stuff. Andy McEwen has somehow been able to get through all of that nice and cleanly, and maybe this is a whisper it, don't want to curse him, but a sign of changing tides for the Year 1 racing driver. We'll follow him, his progress through the field as well with Tom Griffiths, who's doing good for himself, up into 15th place. Definitely some quick peddlers out and about on the circuit. We're going to have to keep our eyes open to figure out how this race is going to shake up, because it is early days, but at the moment Sam Smith is leading, and with a big margin, nearly 2 seconds to Douglas Stewart. So if Sam Smith can stay out in front and keep that gap building, keep turning in those laps, he could take this race victory. He could spoil the party of Jason Cooper.
Absolutely very true indeed. Fiona Siddons just going side by side. Oh, no, it's outside. No, there was a contact. That was a lot of contact, actually. Oh, my goodness. Who is managing to get through? I think everyone's got through. Everyone has got through. No, Jason Cooper. No, he's dropped down. Look. Oh, dear. That's not good. That was I think it was Nick Clibbins there that had a bit of a moment. Well, sorry, it wasn't Nick Clibbins. That was Fiona Siddons. Just a bit of contact there. I think there was net code, so nothing really could have been done. Oh, that was a bit of a lunge there for Liam Stimson. He's having a little bit of problems, though, with his internet, so hopefully he'll be able to maintain that, and it will be able to improve to the latter stages of this race. James Neve, he is losing out on a position at the moment to Luke Cooper, possibly even Colin Sansom as well. Just having a look. Jason Cooper's out. Jason Cooper is in the pits. So, unfortunately, woed by the last race again. It's just, I mean, it's a shame. We're going to have a look back on it in a few moments, obviously. But again, there's battles all through up and down the field as well. Annie McEwen versus Liam Stimpson again, who's pinging in and out of existence. Manages to maintain. So Andy McEwen, he did drop back a little bit, so now he's in P8, and he's got a little bit of a gap now up ahead between himself and Fiona Siddons, who is Andy McEwen's next car out on track. Robert Noble. Oh, we just caught the tail end of that. Robert Noble coming together with Liam Stimpson. I wonder if that was because of the internet. Hopefully, well, I mean, it's not good either way. Definitely something you don't want to see, but could just be that Robert Noble wasn't too sure where he was going to be. So big shame there. Andy McEwen back now with himself and Fiona Siddons. Oh no, Andy McEwen's gone right into the wall. Ooh. That's going to possibly give him some damage. I think he might be okay.
I think he's just gotten away with that.
Oh,
very close though. Yeah, finally some good fortune for Andy McEwen. Up the order, you can see now. Let's have a look further back though. A battle between Nick Clibbins. Oh, there's contact. That was him coming into the wall early on. We saw that. I think that was lap 2. And then Jason Cooper, and taking evasive action, has a collision with another car. And I think that could be both of them out of the race. Let's have a look on board with Jason Cooper. He sees the incident happening. He decides to go to the left, which is the safer option. But then to see, it's Tom Griffiths that he has a collision with. Oh, and trying to avoid one incident, he has another.
Yeah, it's a big shame, isn't it? Because it was almost, it's not really self-inflicted. Oh, Colin Sampson having a bit of a moment there. It's almost one of those ones where your natural reaction again is to sort of dart down as quick as you can. So, and it's just happened, unfortunately, there was just a car there. So big shame, and through no fault, it's just evasive action that you would normally try and take anyway. Yeah, that is a big shame, unfortunately. So hopefully, hopefully, unfortunately for Jason Cooper, that is race done and dusted. His brother, though, having a bit of a go at the inside of Fiona Siddons. Track cam there's plopped on the apex, and Luke Cooper makes that move stick. So that is up into P7 for the Swift Cooper Esports driver. Fiona Siddons, though, keeping there or thereabouts. Next person possibly with a battle will be herself and Shane Piggott. The gap is around about 0.5 of a second. I've just had a quick look. Andy McEwen is 6.5. He's about 6.5 seconds behind. That is a fair chunk of time. I mean, if anyone could do it, I think Andy McEwen has definitely got the pace. So we'll have to see on that. But bear in mind, he's got to make up. That's a good about 9.5, 10 seconds up till Sam Smith in first place. And there's only 6 minutes and 10 have gone. So there's only about 9 minutes left. It's going to be, I mean, the pace that we're going to have to see from Andy McEwen is going to have to be absolutely rapid. Speaking of which, Sam Smith, as I was just putting his personal best to 1:31.44. Arthur Panzel, though, bear in mind, he's only 9/10 away now. He's put in a lap time of 1:31.31, so he's lapping a little bit quicker. Andy McEwen, though, exactly the same time last lap as Arthur Panzel. So it's close. It's going to be close. It's just a shame that the gaps aren't quite as close as Andy McEwen would have liked.
Yeah, he's going to have to put in some absolutely otherworldly laps to close that margin down. I think maybe the best he can manage from this race is probably a podium position, because Sam Smith and Arthur Panzel are starting to pull away from the pack now, trying to build the margins, trying to get the gaps through. And to be fair, Arthur Panzel, this is the race he's been needing all evening long. He's not been having the luck similar to Andy McEwen. He's been really struggling to get the fortunes favouring him, fortunes going his way. And I think this is his best chance to get a good result this evening. Maybe not an out-and-out race victory, but definitely a second place is going to be a great chance for him. Look at that, though. James Clark really loose coming through the chicane there, and it's going wide, probably to allow Douglas Stewart to pass by, getting into the slipstream and trying to stay in front of Ryan Main. Battling like that, though, allows Arthur Panzel a bit of breathing room and brings Andy McEwen just that little bit closer. As I say that, though, the gap isn't coming down, I think, as fast as Andy would be liking.
No, it's true, isn't it? Like I said, you want that gap to come down, and you've got to be careful that you don't overdrive the car. I think that's the key thing as well. If you start overdriving the car too much, obviously it puts you at a hindrance. So you just got to be careful of that all the time. Mark Oliver and Shane Pickett, though, they're having a bit of a battle as they go through. I think Shane Pickett has just passed Mark Oliver, so possibly a little bit slow on the exit of the final chicane, which did cost a little bit of time. But Mark Oliver, though, he's not dropping back too much. He's wanting to get that position straight back. And he might very well do it. Wouldn't like to be that cameraman, I'll tell you that. Again, lots of wheel sort of chirps you can see there. Lots of bit of like wheel kick up. That's just causing a little bit... I don't know if that's... I mean, it's not really hurting the tyres, I can't imagine. Oh, you just saw that. How close was that? Shane Pickett, I mean, if you couldn't get any closer to the wall, you could actually get... That's about as close as you really want to get to the wall. That's a bit too close. So, yeah, that corner before, going through into turn 6, I believe that was as close as you want to get it. Unfortunately, he has now lost out time. He's going to lose out to Shane... he's going to lose out to Mark Oliver and Craig McDonald as well. I wonder if that damage is really hurting. He might even have steering damage as well, which is not going to be what he needs. Further up the field, though, what is kicking off here, Ed?
James Clark and Douglas Stewart wheel to wheel into the final chicane here. Hard on the brakes from Douglas Stewart. Has he overcooked it? Yes, he has, and there's contact there. Both cars involved. 777 and 66. Ryan Main gets off. Back and running. Andy McEwen says, thank you very much. I'm going to take that position. Can see Ryan Main as well closing up to himself. This is the fortune that Andy McEwen needed. He's going to be thinking now that the podium charts is definitely on the cards here. Just a shame that that battle ended the way it did, because it was looking to be a really great fight right up until the end. But we've got 5 minutes still to go in this race, as we watch Andy McEwen, I think, getting ahead of Ryan Main, the 2 Year 1 racing cars, sorting out the positions. I think Ryan Main realizes Andy is that little bit quicker at the moment and just wants to slot back behind and work together and trying to close up to James Clark up ahead. And James will no longer have any slipstream or anything to help him along. So it's going to be a straight fight on pace for these final 5. Look at this, though. Is that a cutback from Craig Cockrell on Fiona Siddons? It is. What a move there from the number 9 on Fiona Siddons. And look at that. Julian Schroer is going to try and find a way past her into the chicane. They will all go. And is Fiona going to look to the inside to go for a move, or look to the inside to defend a move? Or she's going to go for it, you know. Clots over the curbs. Evasive action taken by Craig Cockrell. And that's, unfortunately, I think, Fiona Siddons' race over and done with. Just a little too hot into the chicane there. Yeah,
a bit of a shame. Just takes a little bit too much speed. It's a really, really tricky one, because you've always got to be driving at the limit, but at the same time, you've got to be conservative. It's a very, very tricky balance. If you can manage it, fantastic, but just a little bit too much if you're getting just that fraction too carried away. But at the same time, though, again, great battle. Someone's had a bit of a moment. Who is that? Possibly just saw a bit of chirp of tyres. Oh, I don't know. That is actually Mark Oliver. So yes, Mark Oliver's had a bit of a moment there. Dropped a few positions, actually 3 positions just in that little bit there. So definitely not what Mark Oliver wanted. A little bit further up the field, though. The gap is actually closing, or the gap is opening up between Andy McEwen and James Clark. So a P3 could very well still be on the cards, possibly. Well, the gap is 6.2 seconds, so something's going to have to happen realistically.
Going to be a great fight till the end, though. All of these drivers so closely matched on pace. Rob Noble in the middle. You can see that very distinctive livery. I do like the look of the car. I think it is actually designed by Rob Noble himself, if I remember rightly. So we've got plenty of livery designers out there. Of course, Michael Seal designs his own liveries and designed his liveries, I think, for quite a lot of the grid as well. So good to see plenty of drivers out there with some very nice liveries indeed. Look at this, though. The 2 very distinct Rapid Motorsports cars. You don't miss them, do you? Blue and yellow standing out nice and bright on the racetrack. And is there stuff going on in front? I think there is. Craig McDowell has just gotten ahead of Julian Schroer. That is for 10th position. Julian Schroer actually very slow underneath the apron. So there might have been a mistake coming out of the final chicane, and actually very slow there from Julian Schroer. Tried to get out of the way. Was there a slowdown, perhaps?
There possibly was. I mean, I'm sure I just heard an incident there. I'm sure I heard something. Sure, I heard a crash. What happened here? Is it a spin? Oh, nearly held it. Nearly held it. Not quite, though, unfortunately.
Bites and snaps on it, doesn't it? And it's so difficult. You think you've got it, and then all of a sudden it grips up, and you can't do anything to fight it. It'll launch you in a direction. Just lucky that there was not a contact with the wall, because that can easily happen. Look at this, though. James Neve, Shane Big got a lot of damage there on the front of James Neve's car. What gave him that sort of battle scar? I think we'll maybe be able to find out at some point. Having a look, though, at the battles up in front, Arthur Panzel has closed that gap to the lead of the race. So half a second now to Sam Smith and Arthur Panzel, 227 versus 222. Who's going to be finishing P2 and who will be out on top in that fight? That's going to be very close, right down to the wire, Dan, because look, the gap's coming down up in front. You can see them across the line. The white flag has been waved. This is now or never for both of these drivers to take something from this evening.
Absolutely, we're going to have to see. Like I said, Sam Smith just needs to be, he's been putting in some really cracking laps. It's only really in this last sort of like 3 or 4 where Arthur Panzer was really starting to pull that gap down. So realistically, he just needs to carry on doing what he's doing. You can see again the wheel movements that Arthur Panzer's doing, obviously with the controller that he's racing with. You can just see the car just goes straight to lock almost instantly. But again, how smooth he's also being as well. It's just it's sort of bewildering to watch, actually. You can see the movements there that are quite sharp. You wouldn't necessarily get that with a wheel. But most of the time, though, it's just so smooth. But what is going to happen at this end? This is the most crucial corner, arguably this one, and going into the last chicane, is Arthur Panzel. Do you know what? You might want to actually back out of this and instead try and make it. No, he's going to ignore me. Oh, dear. I tell you what, though, Sam Smith put it exactly where it needs to be. But what is it? Last the late brakes. Oh, Arthur Panzel's broken too late. He's braked way too late there, and that will cost him a slowdown. And do you know what? Sam Smith played that absolutely perfectly. Just did exactly what he needed to do. Didn't try and brake later. Didn't try and make any sudden move. Just did as he would normally. And that has gained him the race as that one little thing there. He just did exactly nothing changed, and that's given him the race win.
Sam Smith then will come through the final couple of corners. He hasn't taken a race victory all season long. His first race victory of the season. His first race victory, I think, in BSR history as well. Cracking stuff there from the Gaton Simsport driver. It's been a long time coming for Sam Smith, and he's finally got to taste race victory. The top step of the podium going to Gaton Simsport. What a drive there from Zami. He had to fight for it, especially at the end there, with Arthur Panzel. Very smart, like you mentioned, in the placement of his car. Rapid Motorsport battling together as well. And across the line, I think just about Greg McDonald taking that position ahead of Nick Poston. It's good friendly battling between teammates there. Julian Schreier coming across the line. Another place on all. Rob Noble was involved in that incident. 3 wheels on his wagon sees him down in 19th. There must have been something going on in that little battle. We'll see it here. I think he's already got 3 wheels there, and it's on that left-hand side, on the right-hand side actually, rather. Not the area we expect it to be. Usually we find it on other points. Was it just coming out of the final corner? Oh, overcooks it way too much. The curb spits him out onto the right-hand side, into the wall. Hefty hit there from Rob Noble, but it was, I was glad to see that was not an incident between himself and another car, because there's no way we want a race to end between cars having a collision. On small comfort, I suppose, but I think that is it for the racing this evening. Just wait for Rob Noble to go across the line and we can bring you the finishing results. And here we go. So, Sam Smith is your race winner. First race victory of the season as well. I'd love to have a word with him, because what a race that was from Gaton Simsport driver. Arthur Panzel there in second place. Great to see him get something from this evening there on the podium. James Clark in third, ahead of Andy McHugh, and finally some good fortune before coming home in P4. Luke Cooper fifth, ahead of Ryan Main, Douglas Stewart, Colin Sansom, Craig Cockrell rather, and Craig McDonald. Nick Postons is 11th, ahead of Mark Oliver, Julian Schroer, Thomas Burling, Liam Stimpson 15th, Shane Piggott 16th, James Steve and Michael Linscombe Hatfield 17th and 18th. Then we'll have a look down at 19th place. Robert Noble finishing a lap down, still scores a point over, so nursing his car home till the end of the race was the right call for him. Fiona Siddons unfortunately wasn't able to carry on the rest of the race after her incident in the chicane that we saw on the stream there. As well, Nick Clibbin's non-finishers with Lee Holmes, Tom Griffiths, Jason Cooper and Glenn Humberston unfortunately not making it until the end of the fourth and final race. But Dan, what a cracking way to round out the evening. Sam Smith picking up his first ever race victory, only his third podium of the season.
I mean, again, you can't argue with it, can you? Fair play indeed to Sam Smith. Really good stuff. And like I said, that little move that he did on there, I say it was a move. It wasn't anything. He just put the car exactly where it needed to be. In the middle of the circuit, Arthur Panzel had a bit of a decision to make. He could go right, he could go left. Decided to go left, and just outbroke himself. And that was the thing that got him that position. So and got him the win. So absolutely fantastic stuff there from Sam Smith. Really well played and fully deserved, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And he joins us now in the commentary box. Sam Smith, congratulations, your first race victory of the season. Am I right in thinking that's your first victory ever in this BSR Tegiwa trophy?
Yeah, hi guys. Yeah, I had one win at Long Beach in the first winter series that I did. But yeah, this is the first one with a new car, so really chuffed with that, yeah.
Cracking stuff, mate. And just what was it like at the end of the race when you saw Arthur Panzel getting closer? That last lap was very tight between the pair of you.
Yeah, about 3 laps from the end into the third corner, I hit first gear for some reason and sent the car sideways and lost loads of time to Arthur and thought that was it. But yeah, he sent it in the chicane and made a mistake, and I just held back thinking, oh, that's deep. And he went straight on. So yeah, luckily I was there to pick up the pieces.
What a drive from you. And what does that mean to your teammates as well? I heard about a chipped in to ask if you wanted to chat. They're just as excited about this race victory as you are, I'm sure.
Yeah, got to thank all the guys from Gatton and SimTech. We have a good laugh every night on the Tuesday night. So yeah, appreciation to those guys as well.
And this has been a long time coming, I feel, because when you joined the series, I think, like you mentioned in the winter, it wasn't the best round. I think at Brands Hatch was it your first outing, but you've gone from strength to strength. Just what has been your secret in just the evolution of your pace?
Same as everything with it. It's practice. I've put quite a lot of time into it. I've put quite a bit of money into it. Obviously, we're hoping the missus isn't watching. Yeah, I've put quite a bit of money and time into it. It's one of them. You just put the time in, you get the results, and you get the rewards.
Yeah, definitely. And hopefully, this is a sign of things to come. Sam, do you reckon you can maybe have a bit of a better run? Maybe grab a few more podiums?
Yeah, I'd like to, but it's always fingers crossed. So yeah, hopefully so.
And of course, the question has to be asked about the championship. I think you exit this as leader of the Prabs. Is that something that's on your mind coming into the final few rounds of the season?
Yeah, definitely. We've all been talking about it amongst ourselves. So yeah, we've looking at the drop scores and seeing who's got what that they have to count because of penalties and stuff like that. So yeah, we're trying to crunch some numbers and see what's what, but we're not sure yet. So fingers crossed, we'll be there at the end.
Probably won't be sure until the final lap of the final race, Sam. The cracking stuff as always. Great time with you. Before we say goodbye, let you celebrate your teammates. You've obviously shouted them out. Is there anyone else you want to give a shout out here on Absolute Sim Racing?
Yeah, just the missus really for letting me have all the time that I do online. To be honest, she puts up with me spending a lot of time on her. So yeah, to the family as well, and like I say, yeah, the Gatton and the SimTech guys.
Well, all of the time you put in has paid off, mate. Congratulations. Go and celebrate your first race victory of the season. Thoroughly deserved.
Cheers. Thank you very much. Cheers, guys.
And with that, Dan Southsmith exits the commentary box and rounds out what has been an excellent 8th round of this BSR Tegiwa MX5 trophy. There's been action in every single race. It's been a bit of a shame that Jason Cooper, of course, couldn't get the Grand Slam, but you can't take away from the fact that Sam Smith has been excellent to get his first race victory of the season.
No, you can't, can you really? It's fantastic, really well deserved, and yeah, I think overall it was a great race. It was a great round, as well as we always have good rounds here with the British Sim races. And again, going forward into next week as well, we're getting ever closer to the final race of the Sim. We're getting ever closer to the finale. So it's all going to come down to the wire, I'm sure. But again, I think Sam Smith is going to be happy with taking home, currently provisionally leading the Pro-Am standings.
Yeah, only 4 rounds still to go in the championship. Looking at the calendar, we will go to Sebring International for the next week of racing, round 9 of the championship. And then what a final 3 races we have on the cards. Imola, Road Atlanta, and the potential for Mosport, or if it's released in time, Knock Hill. We'll see if that is the case, because there have been whispers, haven't there, Dan, of Knock Hill coming to iRacing in the next build, and maybe if it's in time, who knows what's going to happen. That'll be certainly something to look forward to. But I think that's all the time we have here. Dan, any closing thoughts?
To be honest, again, it's just more so, thank you again to British Sim Racers for having us on and having Absolute Sim Racing as the broadcast partners. It's fantastic. It's amazing racing. And it's hopefully going to be something that we can have a long-standing relationship with, because it's just fantastic racing, and I'm very glad to be a part of it.
Absolutely, and I echo those sentiments. Everyone in BSR knows that once I've started commentating, they haven't been able to get rid of me over these races, because it's just so entertaining, so exciting, these BSR Mazdas. Of course, though, we will have to see you all in a week's time for the next round at Sebring International. You want to keep it tuned, though, to Absolute Sim Racing, because we do have racing here on Thursday. The next round of the UK and Ireland Radical Race Series will be there, starting, I believe, at... what time does that broadcast start? I think, is it 8:30 UK time?
It'll be starting at 9:45.
9:45 UK time. They're only 15 minutes out. I'm not too bad at timekeeping, I swear. Anyway, thank you very much, everyone, for watching us here on Absolute Sim Racing. If you have enjoyed, make sure to give the stream a like. But from myself and from Dan, it's a goodbye. Take care and stay safe.